Hello, everyone. Welcome to the College of Design Transfer Information session. Today, we'll be covering helpful transfer information about the College of Design at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities in order to help you in your transfer admissions planning. So there are two things that make the College of Design unique at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. The first is that it is one of the smallest of our 8 admitting colleges. So students are really part of a small, tight-knit community in the College of Design. They receive a very personalized education, but they are also still part of the large campus community in a very unique metro area that has a very vibrant design community and so many resources both on campus and off campus to take advantage of. So it's really the best of both worlds. The second thing that makes the College of Design pretty unique for transfer students is that students apply and are admitted directly into their majors. So we have 7 different majors that we'll go over in a moment here, but essentially students need to know which of those majors they're most interested in since they start into that major coursework, which is unique to that major from day 1 of the program. So like I said, there are 7 undergraduate majors within the College of Design. Students are admitted directly to their major. We'll go through each one of these individually later in the presentation, so I won't spend too much time on them here. However, one thing I did want to point out right now is that most of these majors do operate on strict studio sequences, and this is important to know for transfer students. What that means is that the major requirements in a lot of them will take a set amount of time, regardless of any general coursework you are transferring in. For example, some of our majors operate on strict 4-year studio sequences. That means that even if you have all of your generals done, instead of shortening that 4-year timeline, it will simply lighten your load throughout that 4-year studio sequence. So that's something to keep in mind. Our apparel design program operates on a 2 to 3 year studio sequence. It only begins in the fall semester. Architecture operates on a 3 to 4 year studio sequence that only begins in the fall semester. Graphic design operates on a 4-year studio sequence that can begin in spring or fall. Interior design operates on a 4-year sequence that only begins in the fall. Landscape architecture is a 4-year sequence that only begins in the fall. Product design is a 4-year studio sequence that only begins in the fall. And then finally, retail merchandising is the only one of our majors that does not operate on any sort of strict studio sequencing, meaning it is the most flexible of our majors for transfer. I will also mention here that there are some exceptions to these strict studio sequences, mainly if a student has taken major-specific studio coursework elsewhere, in which case our faculty would review that coursework upon acceptance into the program to see if it does transfer. Along with those 7 undergraduate majors, the College of Design also offers 10 undergraduate minors. As you can see, every major outside of graphic design is offered as a minor as well, along with some others. A note on the interdisciplinary design minor, that minor is really for students who have an interest in multiple design areas. So you have the ability to pick and choose classes from various design programs, basically creating your own design minor with your tailored interests. So that's, a pretty flexible one. Also, these are not the only programs that students can pursue. It's also common for students to minor outside of their college, which they can certainly do, whether it's in the Carlson School of Management or as a second language in the College of Liberal Arts. So we really encourage students to look outside of the College of Design, but it's also a great way to kind of balance a couple areas of design throughout their education. So here at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, we do offer multiple branches of support for students to take advantage of. Each student is assigned an academic advisor during their new student orientation, and that advisor will be with them all 4 years that they're a student here. So students are really encouraged to meet with them once a semester to create schedules for the upcoming semester, but students can also meet with them as much as they'd like. Academic advisors are really here to help with all aspects of college throughout a student's time here, support with resources, registering for coursework, student groups, graduation, declaring a minor, mentorships, jobs, career services, on and on and on. So they're a really invaluable resource here at the university. Most of them are major specific as well, so they're very in tune with the majors that you're in. The College of Design is also extremely career-oriented, and there are a number of resources we use to prepare students for their life in design. As you can see from this list, we offer career and firm tours. We have a career and internship services office to help students find those internships, find those jobs. We bring in career panels of professionals into the school. We have a mentor program where students can get hooked up one-on-one with professionals in their field. We have networking events on campus. We have professional portfolio critiques as well as peer portfolio critiques. So there are a lot of things we do to try to make it a very real-world program and really assist students in that transition from college to career. College of Design also has great involvement from both our alumni and current students. We have our College of Design Student and Alumni Board that is operated throughout the school year. It's the only college where the student board and the alumni board meet concurrently at the same time. And really they're working together to enhance the student experience, and that's usually through some different events that they put on throughout the year. They are optional events, but they are very highly attended by College of Design students, staff, and just kind of the general community. They put on these events both college-wide and within each individual major. One of the events they do is called the Design in 7 each spring, where we invite in 7 professionals and give them 7 minutes each to talk about their life in design. We also have one in the fall called Dirty Laundry, where we invite in design professionals to air their dirty laundry and kind of talk a little bit about some of the pitfalls of the design industry. And then we also have different portfolio networking events, like I had mentioned, that they put on. So it's really exciting. Students will always know who's going to be at these events, so they can kind of plan their networking and their portfolios accordingly, which is exciting. All right, so studios and classes are an aspect of the College of Design that students tend to really love the most. It's a pretty unique type of education. Studio classes are when you really get your hands dirty and interact with all of the industry professional faculty. Studios have small class sizes. We always cap these studio courses at 20 people. And typically these are major coursework classes, but it really allows for students to have kind of that individual attention and really develop relationships with their faculty and their peers. Some of the more general education classes will be larger than that 20 student cap that we have for the studio courses, but even in those larger lecture style classes, they have smaller discussion sections and office hours, so students can really get that one-on-one attention still. Another highlight of the College of Design is the technology used in the labs and the studios and workshops that we have here on campus. There's over $2 million worth of gear in the College of Design facilities. That includes a wood shop, a metal fabrication lab. We have a digital fabrication lab, what we call the DigiFab lab. That includes 3D printers, laser cutters. We also have computer labs that are open 24 hours with UCard access on both the Minneapolis and St. Paul campuses, so full accessibility there. Those computer labs also have all the software you need, so you don't necessarily have to buy some of these programs yourself, since they are accessible, right here on campus. Speaking of facilities, one important thing to know is that the College of Design is actually split between our East Bank campus and our St. Paul campus. There's Rapson Hall on the East Bank, and then there's McNeil Hall on the St. Paul campus. So at this time, we're actually going to talk a little bit more in depth about majors. So we'll start with the Rapson Hall majors, and that's architecture, product design, and landscape architecture. So architecture is our largest and most popular major in the College of Design. Architecture is really the study of the built environment. Here in our architecture program, we actually offer 2 different tracks within the program. There's the Bachelor of Science in Architecture, which is more of the traditional pre-professional route. Students follow a very strict sequence of studio courses in a certain order, so classes are very laid out for you. And studios are really around designing a structure involving, more technical aspects of the trade, dealing with structural engineering. We do require, physics and calculus for this program, since it is more kind of math and science based. The Bachelor of Design is the other program in architecture. It's a little bit more free-flowing with class structure. Instead of studios, students get what they call workshops. And those subjects of the workshops really vary from semesters to semester and give students more opportunities for electives in these workshops. So workshops dealing with metalwork or watercolor or choreography. It really kind of looks at overall design through an architectural lens. Both programs really prepare students to work right away upon graduation in an architecture firm, or continue on with more schooling into a graduate program. And the other thing that's important to know is that the student's first year is technically a pre-architecture major. So they don't actually have to decide whether they're pursuing the Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Design until after their first year. And that's so students can really get a feel for what architecture is and decide, which direction is best for them. And just some quick examples of student work here. Landscape architecture is really everything outside that is not a building. That kind of falls under landscape architecture. It includes subjects as to, how to create more sustainable environment, how to benefit people through things like parks or ecosystems of trees, how those kinds of things can enhance our environment. As you can imagine, there's some overlap with the architecture program because landscape architects and architects work hand in hand. So there are some similarities between these programs. But yeah, it's a really exciting program. Our BLA, or Bachelor of Landscape Architecture, is on track to be an accredited program, meaning students that want to be licensed, can graduate from our bachelor's degree and have that aspect of the licensure kind of checked off the list. And again, some examples of some student work in landscape architecture. Product design is the newest major in the College of Design. It did start back in 2016, so it's been around for a little bit. But it was a minor for a long time, and there was so much demand that it was made into a major. Overall, students in product design are really learning to develop, market, and sell products. So the thing that makes this program so unique is that it's really a strong combination of engineering and design. So industrial engineering and industrial design. So it's really designed for the students who have that balance of left brain, right brain, and have interest in art as well as math and science and technology and everything. So it's a pretty one-of-a-kind program here in the United States, just because it is that strong blend of engineering and design. It's pretty exciting to see the types of things students are doing, creating toys, building cars, designing shoes, and everything in between. You can see some examples of student work here. All right, so those were our Rapson Hall majors. So now we're going to head over to our St. Paul campus, McNeil Hall, and look at the majors that are housed there. So the first is apparel design. Apparel design is the study of creating clothing. So students learn to design, they learn to sew, they learn to fabricate and produce different articles of clothing. They also learn the business side of things, as well as model photography and styling. One really exciting thing is in their junior year, students design and develop their own clothing line. And then in their senior year, they then produce the clothes, find the models, and hold a fashion show in Rapson Hall to really show off their work. So it's cool to kind of see that everything come to fruition, from the designing and kind of just conceptualizing of things to actually having it on models and seeing them walk the runway, which is really exciting. It's cool too because we really look at a blend of not only the fashion side of things, but the function side of things. Up in this upper left-hand picture, you can see the NASA podium there. We have a relationship with NASA with our wearable technology lab, where students are working on the design and technology of clothing that astronauts are wearing. So there's kind of that functionality element as well as the fashion element that students can pursue. Next up is our graphic design program. So graphic design is a very broad program in nature. Overall, it really uses visual information to communicate effectively. And students will really learn about all aspects of design within this program. It includes drawing, it includes screen printing, typography, web design, Illustrator. Students really study all aspects of design to help them decide which direction they want to go after graduation, as well as be prepared for anything that might come their way. A senior project is to choose a research topic and then print and bind a book or other material on that topic. So it's pretty cool to see what students do. One recent graduate's topic was the mental illness stigma, and she created a board game to kind of explain her research, which is an interesting way to learn about that. So it's fun to see students get creative. And again, some examples of student work here. Next up is interior design. So interior design is the study of how humans interact with the interior of a space and really making a space aesthetically pleasing. I always make sure to mention it is different than just interior decorating. And it's more about, where to build and place windows, doorways, furnitures, plants, lighting concepts, more. You really need to work with architects from the ground up to make sure that your lighting fixtures don't interfere with your heating and cooling systems, and that you're meeting OSHA code and fire code and different things like that. We have a lot of students that come in, want to do residential and housing interior design, which is really great option, but we also, open them to other avenues into, commercial interior design, community interior design, working for hospitals, restaurants, offices, everything everything needs to be designed, and we really want to make sure students are looking at the full scope of interior design. Our program is one of 2 accredited programs in the state of Minnesota, which really means that you can also go on to become a licensed interior designer with our degree as well. Some examples of student work here. And then lastly, our retail merchandising major is essentially a business degree within the design college. This program really emphasizes a design way of thinking within principles of marketing and general management, which is very marketable in general. Essentially, students are kind of looking at 2 aspects. There's kind of the visual merchandising aspect, which is more of the design side of things, creating aesthetically pleasing displays and visual aids to help attract customers, sell product, whether that's in a physical space or in a digital space. And then there's also more of the business side, the analytical and buying side of things, the logistics of things, analyzing trends to determine, most effective methods of distribution, marketing, selling. There's a lot of different directions you can take retail merchandising, and it is a very broad program. And it's exciting because students are very motivated, and they do partner with like our Carlson School of Management for some classes, so that you can get that experience as well. And some examples of student work and things here. So I wanted to thank you all for your time today. If you have any follow-up questions and want to connect with a transfer admissions counselor, the best place to go is admissions@umn.edu, listed there. Send an email and we'll make sure it gets to the right person. Otherwise, we do encourage you to follow social media for the College of Design. And we really hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks a lot.